Don't laugh, Brev. That's good.
It's a good day, YouTube. I have had a day where I just feel like I see all of the potential of what my team and I are building unraveling in front of me. And not in a bad way. Unraveling seems like it's chaotic, but in just the plans that God has for us are just becoming clearer and clearer, and it's fun. It's so much fun right now. And one of the guys on my team, my CRO Justin, just made me so happy today because he did things that I've been wanting him to do for a long time, and he did them. And it's not by coincidence that he started doing them. We had a really good conversation the other day. So Justin and I started together in March, I think. I started Partner and Scale in January, and I think he came on in February or March. And slowly his role has just changed and changed and changed. And because of that, I don't know why, but I never really had a deliberate expectations meeting with him. I never really sat down with him because I've been working with him for years and I know what he's good at. I never sat down with him at this company and told him, this is what I expect you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is the minimum of what you need to produce. I never had those conversations with him, which is like 101. Every person I ever bring on in business, the very first thing I do is say, this is what I expect. This is what I want. This is what I need you to do. This is what a win-win relationship looks like. And whether it's personal, professional, romantic, that is how you can win in relationships. You set precedent, you set expectation as to what needs to happen for that relationship to be considered a win, to be fruitful. So like a couple things. Number one is the reason I want you working with Ali is because the goal of having you here is to make sure I don't have to think about content. And so when you're like, where do you want to do it? Do you want to use the tripod, stuff like that? I don't want to be answering those questions. Okay. It's not hard to set up a camera and like do that stuff, right? It's hard for me to think about that while I also like, I'm supposed to be writing the copy for the PNS lander. And so if I'm thinking about the camera stuff and like is the mic on, do we want to do this, where do we want to do this, like knowing John's on the call right now, so we don't want to pick up backup audio, blah blah blah. You're thinking about that, so I can think about this, and then we divide and focus, right? That's the benefit. Setting expectation is the very first thing that God did when he created humankind. He said, grow the garden and keep it. You can eat of any tree of the garden except for these two. He set the expectation of what he wanted humankind to do and the only thing they were not supposed to do. And so he was able to hold Adam and Eve to the standard of the expectation that he set. If they ate from the tree, but he never said don't eat from the tree, he wouldn't be able to say that they broke trust and relationship with him. If God didn't give Moses the 10 Commandments, then we wouldn't actually have the expectation of how to live our lives according to the law of perfection that God requires. If we didn't have that expectation, we actually would have no need for Jesus Christ, because we wouldn't be missing the expectation that he fulfills for us.
Paul and I have discovered one of the world's biggest scams. Paul and I have, let's just say, canvassed many nice restaurants in our day, and the common theme is wine. Wine in a restaurant.
But I think this is known, dude.
Is a massive scam. No, it's not known. People need to be aware of this. Okay? Because a bottle is $180 and a glass is $50.
For an $80 bottle.
For an $80 bottle of wine.
I actually don't mind the $180 bottle.
No, I think that's actually not bad.
That's fine, you know.
But I mean, how many glasses can you get out of one bottle?
No.
3, 4, 5?
No. 5 plus.
5 plus.
I take a guess.
So,
and that's like, it's probably like,
we're just going to start selling wine at this stage because...
How many 9-ounce glasses of wine come in a bottle? 5 glasses of standard.
Wow.
Standard pour.
So it's a scam.
So, bro, $250.
So you save $70 by getting the
You save
bottle,
$80 by getting the bottle.
Wait, I thought it was $250.
$250, but it's $170 for the bottle.
Okay, I thought it was
But
$180 for the bottle.
it's an $80-something, $90-something bottle of wine if you go to a store and buy it.
So it's a scam.
Setting expectations is incredibly important. It's necessary in every single relationship that you have. If I think about the relationships that have drained me the most, that have angered me the most, it's because I've never deliberately set expectations in them. Versus my most fruitful relationships, like today with my CRO, Justin, where I had a deliberate conversation about expectations with him last week, and today, he just made me so happy. Because he exceeded expectations. He came knowing exactly what he was supposed to do, and went past it because we finally got aligned with what we expected in this relationship to consider this relationship a win-win. This is really simple stuff, but business at its core is doing the simple things very well. There's not a single corporate company that has 5,000 team members that doesn't onboard without setting expectations properly. But so many business owners, so many, including myself with my CRO, they just don't set expectations. And then they get irritated and frustrated when that person doesn't live up to the expectation that you have for them mentally, but you never actually told them or relayed to them. And so there's a rule that I have that I, for some reason with my CRO, never did, but every single team member I ever hire, I do two things. Number one is I verbally, through meeting, tell them the expectations that they are supposed to meet and abide by. Number two is I write them down. I think I learned this from Hermosi, but nothing's ever actually set in stone unless you put it on paper and you say it verbally. There's a rule that I have, which is that you're not really setting expectation unless you're doing it verbally and written, because you have to go and be able to say, like, I showed you and I told you right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Number 2 is batteries. So number 1, we don't have one. If you can send me an Amazon link.
There's one in the camera bag.
You can always, if you're at the desk, plug this into a USB-C, and then if you find out that it's full, then just take the other battery and plug it in and then charge it out, so that you have 2. And then the external, like, big battery that I have, always make sure that that's on you, fully charged, because then you can just use that as a to-go. Like, you can put that in your backpack, USB-C it to the camera, and then you have a essentially external battery source. Be prepared always. Like, have the ND filters on you, have backup batteries. It's the joke of content. You never actually have what you need no matter how much you prepare, but the only way to combat that is by preparing like crazy. So always have a tripod in the car with us or wherever we are, right? Even if you can't bring a tripod, have the Gorilla Pod with us. Have backup batteries, not just one, but like a whole case of backup batteries for the mic. Realistically, what we should have once we get the XLR handle is we should always have a backup mic with us, just in case anything happens. You know, the goal is always be as prepared for anything so that we're always ready for it, rather than being underprepared. If you just say it verbally, then there's nothing for you to go back to and say, like, hey, I told you here. It's kind of gone with the ether. So you write it down so you can go back and say, it is right here. I set that expectation. But if you just write it down without telling them, then there's a chance they didn't see it. To set an expectation properly, you have to tell them and you have to write it down. You have to log it. And if they don't then live to the expectation after you've told them, after you've written it down, then you can justifiably say or come down with consequence that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But until you do, until you put the expectation in place, verbally and written, you don't have the ability to say that someone doesn't actually meet the standard that you haven't told them to meet. All right, so the dread you were just feeling, why were you feeling it?
I should have been more prepared.
Oh yeah, why do you think you should have been more prepared?
Because I only had like 23% on the battery at the time.
Why do you think preparation is important?
So stuff like this doesn't happen.
Correct. Did we talk about that?
We did.
Was that an expectation set? See? If I didn't say over prep is an operational value and I didn't set that expectation, then I couldn't tell you, Ollie, what are you doing when you don't have the extra battery on you? You know?
That's very true.
See? Setting expectations, real time, at dinner, coming true. And so I think that's something that most business owners don't do. I think it's something most people forget to do in the relationships they have, whether it's relationships with family, relationships with friends, with partners. Those are the relationships that can benefit the most from setting expectation. What do you want from them? What do they want from you? How can you make that relationship with that human being the most fruitful possible relationship? If you think about any book that talks about romantic relationships, they all say sit down with your significant other and ask them what makes them feel loved, what makes them feel appreciated, and tell them the same. And then it's on paper as to what you both need to do to make each other feel fulfilled in the relationship. It's the same thing with business. Realistically, the expectation of a business owner needs to be set in stone as this is what I'm going to give you. That needs to be set in the hiring process. This is what you get working with me. You get training, you get compensation, you get X time off, etc. And in return, you're expected as an employee to do X. And then you verbally state that during onboarding and you write it down. You have an employee handbook that you give them that says all of this. And you update that handbook the entire time that they work with you so that the expectation clearly stays up to date with what their role is. Also, from here on out, I'm gonna fuck with you a little bit and just change the lighting just a hair. I'm sure you can compensate and make it good. There we go. That's not good. Cool. I'm gonna end it here. Genuinely, I don't think there's any more that needs to be said on this point. This is a pretty cut and dry point. Set expectations in your relationships, say it verbally, put it down on writing. If they don't then hit expectation, you are then justified in having a conversation with them about them missing expectation. I hope this helps. I hope this helps in both your relationships and in your business. Until next time, until tomorrow, happy hunting. John is the epitome of he can't do both. He only can do nice now.
No, I don't like places in the middle, right? So either be shit or be good. Don't be average. Right? So it's like McDonald's, I'll go fucking smash McDonald's because they have owned their positioning in the market to not be good.
It's Chipotle.
I know, they think it's like middle ground. It's not. It's bad. But they don't own it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think Chipotle is like top tier, top class.